Hi there. Today I'm absolutely delighted to review the TV adaptation of The Terminal List. Now, we reviewed The Terminal List when I did an overall review of the first few books in the series, the James Reece series by Jack Carr. So you can look up the review of the actual book, and it's very, very interesting that excuse me, when Jack Carr was creating the character of James Reece right at the beginning, he thought if anyone should play him, if this ever came to the screen, which he hoped it would be Chris Pratt. And by a quite coincidental series of events, through a mutual acquaintance who was another former SEAL, Jack Carr was able to get a book to Chris Pratt, who read it, loved it, and the wheels started being put in motion to bring it to the TV screen. So the series was made by Amazon Prime, with Chris Pratt playing James Reece. Now, there are many good actors who can portray action heroes, but I can't really think of anyone who would have done the part of James Reece better than Chris Pratt does in this drama. He really does nail it as the SEAL officer who is adept at all kinds of fighting, both armed and unarmed, who wreaks terrible revenge on his enemies, and yet nevertheless is a loving family man, as described in the book. And he manages to bring those two sides of the character to life on the screen in a really, really authentic way. And it's a human character rather than a caricature, which you quite often get in action films. So I really was impressed by what Chris Pratt did with the character. And from now on, when I read the books, that will be the James Reece in my mind's eye. Other cast members include Taylor Kitsch as Ben, who is an old SEAL colleague of James Reece, who is now working for the CIA. Taylor Kitsch is always good in those roles. Constance Wu plays Katie Burak, who's the investigative reporter central to the story. Good casting there. And the rest of the cast all do really good jobs. People who play FBI agents, US Marshals and so on, all play their part, and everyone really punches above their weight in a way. The plot of the book can be described really as revenge, and some people have a problem with this, but it's a theme that's been used both in books and movies for a long time. And way back in history, we've had revenge stories. It's resonates with us really, and what revenge is in the modern day really. We live under a system of laws, but what happens when the people who have wronged you and wronged you massively? I'm not giving anything away because it's in the trailers and so on, but James Reece's family, his wife and daughter are murdered, amongst other things, and the people are going to never ever face any kind of scrutiny, let alone being brought to justice. The system, the power system, protects them and insulates them. So what do you do in that case, particularly if if you have spent your entire adult life learning to fight and killing the enemies of your country in wholesale numbers? And that really is the core of this book. Now, obviously, the screen and the page are completely different entities, how things are described. In a book, you can describe what's going on in someone's head. In a film, it's all got to be done through behaviour and through what's shown on the screen. So there are obviously differences. And I think any mature person understands this. No matter how much we enjoy a book, we know when it's being prepared for the screen, there's things you can't do. And in some ways, it can add to the enjoyment because you get both. So, you know, it's not an either or, you're getting both. You've read the book, you've enjoyed that, now you're getting a different experience. And I didn't notice anything that made me think, oh, it's a pity they didn't do that, or why did they leave that out, or so on. They streamlined it a little bit, not much. All the main elements are there, and in fact there's a lot in the TV series that I found that maybe many producers wouldn't have put in. There's the scenes from Bud's training, for example, which just to illustrate a certain camaraderie or a certain point are included. You know, James Reece and Ben and Boozer, his mate, going through surf torture and so on. Just little scenes like that. Quite a lot of him returning from deployments and, you know, having family time and things like this, all included, and it really does round out the whole thing. But one plot element that I would talk about, how it was handled differently in the book and on the screen, is in a sniper hit, where James Reece uses his skills as a sniper. Now in the book, there's planning. He has to work out the route. He has to work out the target's movements and so on. That's all kind of explained. His choice of weapon, his choice of ammunition, and then his clothing, because he wants to blend in as a hunter. So if anyone sees him, he thinks, oh yeah, it's hunting season. And so he's dressed appropriate, not dressed as a SEAL, he's dressed as a hunter. And, you know, he's using a bolt action weapon, something that a hunter would probably be using. And he goes into position, he's taken a sleeping bag, he gets into position well in advance, he has a sleep, he hydrates, and he does the job. Several pages of writing, you're absolutely gripped by it, because Jack Carr was a sniper, knows what he's talking about. And in the TV series, you just see him climb up a hill, get into position, the target appears and he shoots him, and that's it. And that's how it should be. There's no other way of doing it, really. And then you move on and you get another part of the story shown. So that's just to talk about the difference, not whether one's better than the other or not. The action scenes, very, very convincing. It starts off really with a scene in Iraq where they have to go into a tunnel system, to a SEAL team, SEAL element goes into a tunnel system looking for this bad guy. What they don't know, it's an ambush. They've been compromised by their own people. That's what the plot's about. And the action's really, really well done. They've got a lot of former SEALs acting both as technical advisors and as actors in those scenes, and it's done really, really well. The shooting, James Reece with his long guns and pistols and various confrontations. It's not the balletic, choreographed martial arts type shooting that we've been seeing in some films recently, which is very entertaining, and I love it, love seeing it, but it's not real world. This is more like you see as the result of 20 years of direct action hits where CQB has been put into effect over and over and over again. It's been refined down to an absolute killing art. And both Chris Pratt and the other actors involved, there's FBI hostage rescue team in there, there's private security guys in there, bodyguards and so on. The weapons handling by the actors concerned is very, very convincing, and it's spot on in my view. I watched Jack Carr talking on Tucker Carlson recently on Fox, a short element where he's talking about the terminal list. And apparently the critics in the United States, in the mainstream media, hated it. Hated everything about it. They hated the guns, they hated the plot, they even hated the music. There's some country songs in there, they even slammed that. Kind of tells you more about them than it does about the terminal list. On the other hand, the viewers loved it. It's still the #1 Amazon show after several weeks since its release. And this really tells a tale. The difference between the left-wing orientation of the critics and what the public, the real viewing public, actually like. For myself, I loved it. I was impressed with the production, the direction, the script, the actors, and the action. I thought it was excellent. It was very well done. It's one of the better page-to-screen adaptations I've seen, and I quickly became hooked. I was hoping it was going to be as good. It was even better, and I was delighted that it's so good. It's so good it made me want to read the book again, and I'm halfway through the book again because I want to get that double enjoyment. I just hope more's to come. I hope they film the next book. And I think due to the popularity of this series, they will. So that's something to look forward to. As I've said before, I can't overemphasize it. Jack Carr was the inspiration for this channel. And it's great to see his creation brought so faithfully and so convincingly to screen. Get it, it's on Amazon Prime, and make sure you watch it.